things started out all right for the three of us, but at least for me and Dick. Now they threw us out to the pizza heaven because of that burning tablecloth, but we blamed that on Sonny. And yeah, they run us out of the Dairy Queen parking lot because of the broken beer bottles, but yeah, we blamed it on Sonny too. But when we hit Skull's place, everything came together. Well, see, while Dickie was bargaining with Skull for a quart of moonshine, I was over there slipping this pint of Mad Dog under my jacket just as slick as you please. It was the perfect crime, unless we'd have been caught, in which case would have been Sonny's idea. So that's how the three of us, well, actually two dragged one, came to walking down the middle of the railroad tracks out beyond town, out past Skull's place. And I knew if we kept on walking, we'd hit the tunnel that'd take us to Sulphur Bottom, where Dickie said the wages of sin would buy us anything we could stand. And me and Dickie, we was passing that jar of shine back and forth and chasing it with the Mad Dog once in a while. Sonny, he was just kind of hanging between us. He had one arm slung over each of her shoulders. But he wasn't much for drinking, so that shine hit him hard and fast. He just kind of stumbled along and groaned once in a while. And Dickie, well, Dickie just cussed at Sonny like it's Sonny's fault for just being born. I gotta put this bastard down, Dickie said. And he let Sonny's arm slide off his shoulder. Well then, well, I stumbled, having had a few drinks and all, and well, I let go too. So Sonny just kind of crumbled. And he hit his head hard on one of the cross tires. Even at night, I could see the blood. Now, by that time, I was all for just going on back to Mount Zion and seeing that Bruce Willis picture. But Dickie wouldn't have none of it. He said the Sulphur Bottom were bust. He had some notion we was all going to get laid as if the cat house in Sulphur Bottom had closed down 40 years ago. So anyway, Sonny's just lying there gurgling. And all of a sudden, he commences to calling for his daddy. Well, I look at Dickie, and Dickie, he looks at me. Now, Sonny's daddy, you see, he was killed when the Calvin #2 mine blew up back in '68. Now, they cleared all the gas out, and they hauled all the bodies up, all of them one. And since they didn't find his daddy, Sonny, just being a kid and all, well, he figured that his daddy must be alive somewhere. He didn't know exactly where, just somewhere. And even years later, well, Sonny wasn't quite right, if you get my drift. Anyway, Dickie had about all this he could stand. And he just bent over and just started hollering at Sonny. Your daddy's dead! Dead and gone! Left you! He ain't never coming back! Oh, Lord, well, Sonny, he just commenced to wailing. Sounded worse than power steering up on an old Ford, let me tell you. Then he started going on about wanting to see his grandma and Elvis and Robert E. Lee. Me, I've been happy just to see that Bruce Willis picture. So Dickie turns around, he starts walking on down the tracks toward Sulphur Bottom. So here's Sonny, crazy out of his mind in the middle of the railroad tracks, and here's Dickie leaving us both behind. So I look at Sonny, and I look at Dickie, and Dan and I start walking on toward Sulphur Bottom too. I look back at Sonny, who is still lying there sprawled on the tracks. And he called out to me, just as calm as could be. I'll see you on the other side. Well, I figured he'd be along once he's feeling better. Now, I could barely see that tunnel, even in the moonlight, until he's almost inside. I asked Dickie how long it went on, and he just laughed and said, forever. And his words just bounced off those walls I couldn't even see. We walked and stumbled through there for I don't know how long. I could hear the water just dripping, like a rainstorm had never quite kicked in. I could hear things skittering away in front of us. And then I heard, well, more like I felt, this low roar. It just built and built and built until the air tingled on my skin like sweat and a nasty old scratch. And then that horn just split the mountain in two. I looked behind me, and there was just cold white-eyed light over the tunnel. And I looked ahead, and there was Dickie, caught in that beam, his eyes wild, just crazy. He yelled, Christ! And he took off running, and I ran after him. We chased our shadows toward this gray rim in the distance. I kept hearing this girl scream and scream and scream. It took me a while to figure out that was me. Then all of a sudden, we was freeing out, free in the night, just tumbling down the grade. Well, that train swept past amid thunder and sparks. Well, I was laying there in this ditch, and I just stayed put, letting that water chill me to the bone so I knew I was still alive. I saw Dickie picking himself up out of the gravel and looking at his hands, and I could tell he had blood on him. And he was shaking his fist at the train just to holler, "Damn you! I ain't sorry for nothing! I'd do it again!" And that train, though it didn't hear, or else it didn't let on, it just kept rolling, pushing the night aside. I lay there, crying like a newborn, while Dickie raised his fist to the sky, where the moon accused us both to a torn veil of cloud.
Lights down.